So for today's lesson, we're going to continue our unit on ball hockey, and we're going to focus on maintaining possession of the ball. What does it look like to maintain possession of the ball? So what I'm going to have you do is turn to your partner right now and have that conversation. What is the success criteria to maintain possession of the ball? How do we maintain possession of the ball? So turn to your partner right now. Have students conference with their partner, each speaking for up to 1 minute to share their knowledge of success criteria of maintaining possession. Following partner discussions, consider having pairs share their responses with the class. Consider recording correct responses on poster paper for future reference. Throughout the lesson, continue to draw students' attention to the identified criteria for success. To get warmed up and to increase our heart rates, we're going to play a game called Can You Handle It? On teacher's signal, students will stick handle the ball, puck, or beanbag around the activity area, moving in and around their classmates who are constantly changing direction. Have students experiment with holding their stick first with their right hand at the top and then their left. On teacher's signal, have students change the form of the locomotion, gradually increasing the speed with which they are moving. Remind students that as they move faster, they will have to be more aware of the personal space of those around them. Cones can be placed around the activity area to add another degree of difficulty to the warm-up activity. Throughout the warm-up, prompt students to reflect on their dribbling and success criteria for the skill as it appears on the poster. Prior to the activity, inspect the area for safe traction and potential hazards. Remind the students to be cautious of others when moving. Use only a soft ball, such as a soft gas or cloth ball, beanbag, rubber puck. Use only regulation plastic ball hockey, Cosm hockey sticks, or a wooden hockey shaft with a plastic blade. Stick length should be appropriate for height of student. Sticks must be checked regularly for cracks, splinters, and loose blades. Sticks must remain below the waist at all times. Set boundaries for activities a safe distance from the walls. Check that floor plugs for posts are covering holes and are flush to the floor. Let's practice our stick handling with 2 games. The first is called I Can Handle It. Students find a spot in the activity area and practice stick handling back and forth while standing still. They can stick handle with short sweeps and with wide sweeps, making sure to keep the ball or puck under control at all times. Encourage them to keep their heads up as often as possible. The farther in the front the hands are, the easier it is to keep the head up. Now we'll practice stick handling between 2 cones. Provide each student with 2 objects, either beanbags, small cones, or blocks. Place the objects on the floor about 1 meter apart. While standing still, students practice stick handling around the 2 objects in a figure 8. Again, remind students to keep their heads up and their hands out in front. The stick should remain in contact with the ball or puck at all times. Remind students of the success criteria throughout the task. Let's continue to work on our own and move around the space, avoiding the objects. Make sure you keep your eyes looking up. Leave the objects on the floor or ground and have students stick handle around the activity area moving forward. Encourage students to keep their heads up to avoid collisions, to avoid the obstacles, and to master the art of stick handling with their heads up. If students are feeling comfortable, they can increase the pace by jogging very slowly while stick handling. Students who are feeling challenged can remain stationary, and those who are feeling comfortable can experiment with moving sideways while stick handling. If equipment is available, allow students to choose the object they feel most comfortable stick handling. For example, a beanbag would be easier to control than a ball. Let's stay in our squads and play a mini game. Divide the class into groups of 6 and divide the activity area into 4 quadrants. In each of the 4 quadrants, set up 1 net using pylons. Play mini half-court games of 3-on-3. Remind students about the safety rules of ball or cosm hockey. Players can only stick handle for a maximum of 5 seconds, and then they must pass or shoot. All shots and passes must be below the waist. If a team loses possession through interception or by shooting the ball or puck out of bounds, then the defensive team must make at least 3 passes before they can shoot on the net. Both teams shoot at the same net, and there are no goalies. Throughout the activity, highlight game strategies such as open space, transition from offense to defense, and communication to students. Remind students of the following safety rules. Sticks must remain below the waist at all times. No slap shots. All shots and passes must not travel higher than the waist. Now let's cool down with pass and stretch. Students form circles of 4 to 5 students with 1 student in each circle in the middle with a ball or puck. Students begin by jogging around the circle, gradually decreasing the intensity of the movement to a slow jog, a brisk walk, and finally a slow walk. While students are moving, the student in the middle passes the ball or puck to a moving classmate who then passes it back to the student in the middle. This sequence continues until the teacher signals the group to stop. Change the student in the middle regularly. After each student has had an opportunity to be in the middle, the teacher leads the class in a series of static stretches, holding each stretch for 15 seconds. While stretching, students reflect on their ability to maintain control of the ball. Students give themselves a thumbs up, middle, or thumbs down self-assessment to demonstrate their level of control.